Hello, welcome back. Today is a special sort of conversation with just me and Elliot, no Alex and Dan, but we're touching on a subject which is pretty on the cusp of everyone's conversation, I think. It's the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation, which has been unraveling for the last, I think it's really been in the forefront of the news for the last probably 3 months, solid, strong. After the verdict, I think the end of last month just gone, it's really spiraling into a huge story for 2020. So me and Elliot, we're just going to run through our opinions, thoughts, a few facts and a few Q&As for each other, and see what you guys think. It'd be interesting to know what everyone else is thinking about it. I know we're both pretty it's quite hard to say how we both feel. Yeah, we're a bit it's a very sensitive subject, which always makes for good conversation, but it's one I think which needs to be discussed at the moment, because
I think I'm trying to go into it open-minded. I think it's one of those things where it's quite a delicate sort of situation, and I think it's important to try and just be a little bit open-minded about it and try and look at it from both sides, really. I suppose we could have a look at their timeline, go back. So they met on the Rum Diary, which is a film 2009. They were reportedly dating in 2012. Both had partners before each other. I think they tied the knot. I think they got engaged in 2014, and then by 2016, that's where the issues came in. They filed for divorce. So only 2 years later, Amber Heard, she claimed she put a temporary restraining order in, and was claimed that she'd been domestically abused. She claimed that Johnny Depp had thrown a phone at her and left her quite badly bruised, which obviously Johnny Depp denied. They reached a settlement, and I think, if I remember correctly, they both decided. I think they released a joint statement that said that, you know, they only did anything out of love. There was no domestic abuse. I think she sort of dropped the whole throwing the phone incident. They said there was never any. I think one of the quotes was, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain." Because that was one of the things I think Johnny Depp said, that she was only claiming that he abused her so that she could end it quickly through the divorce and get a payout at the end of it. Yeah, they claimed that never happened. They moved on, and it wasn't until
there was a £7 million
figure. So she got £7 million, but he kept the house, and I think he kept his island and things like that. Yeah. So she got payout, but she donated that £7 million to charity, apparently.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah. But it sort of went away then, and then it wasn't until 2018 Amber Heard wrote something for the Washington Post, where she claimed to have been a victim of domestic abuse, and she never named him, but she gave stories regarding what somebody had done to her, and then the amazing newspaper that is The Sun claimed him a wife beater. And that's really where all this outrage has come from, isn't it? It's
the wife beater statement has been validated. They tried to settle it in, I think, a civil court. It wasn't prosecution, so it wasn't conviction or a criminal charge. It was just something to do with what was it, defamation of character?
Yeah, so defamation of character was what Depp was suing Heard over for $50 million, because he claimed that it was his words were, it was an elaborate hoax to generate positive publicity for Amber Heard. But and that's something that's important for all of this, is that Johnny Depp has denied everything throughout all of this. And then, but like Amber Heard, she's called him a monster in this, and she's gone in quite hard, and there's some, real detailed stories about the supposed things that he's done.
I read the one on the airplane where he kicked her in the back of the head. pretty, and the fact that I read the court case transcript, and his response was, I don't remember that flight being all that bad, but I'm not sure if I can remember all of it because he was completely intoxicated on both drugs and
Yeah,
alcohol.
she
So
does claim that most of the times that he abused her, he was intoxicated. So that, doesn't really work well for Johnny Depp, does it? One of the ones I think I read that he threw her for a ping pong table and then
yeah,
dragged her across some broken glass, and she said she's still got the scars for that still.
yep,
So this has gone on for a while now. And in 2020, I think there were some phone recordings released, and both of them sound like there's an issue there with them both.
Yeah.
They both almost admit to a few things. Johnny Depp basically says he had to leave because if it got any more violent, he'd be worried of what he did do. And Amber Heard pretty much said she loses control sometimes. So this is what makes it so hard. They're both. I think they're both potentially in the wrong here. And it's just
they're both volatile characters, aren't they? They're both completely volatile. They're both eccentric as well. The one thing with Johnny is, and I'm not sitting on any side. That's not what we're here to do. We're sort of looking things from the middle ground. But the thing with Johnny is he is an eccentric man. I know everyone says he's quiet and reserved, and he even quotes himself as, I'm a southern gentleman. I'm soft spoken and soft touched. And the only support you've got for that is that his ex-wife came out and said that she supported the statement that he was a fragile guy, and his mum, Lily Rose's mother, came out and supported him as well.
She claimed he'd never ever in the 15 years that he'd been with her shown any abusive tendencies. So that works in his favour big time. What is interesting is actually Amber Heard was arrested in an airport with her previous partner for allegedly punching her partner in the arm and hitting her, which they both then ended up denying. Which I imagine if you're in the public eye and in a relationship, you'll sort of try and maybe brush it under the rug a little bit and try and forget it. So, but that doesn't look good on her part. The fact that she's had that history of it, whereas Johnny Depp, from what I've seen, most people seem to say he is a nice bloke and that he, has never shown any side like that. Where the issue's come in recently is all this issue with the Sun newspaper, isn't it? Where he was claimed to be a wife beater by the Sun, and he's taken them to court and effectively lost to the Sun. So the Sun has basically, this hasn't proven Johnny Depp incorrect, but what it has done is they've shown sufficient evidence that Johnny Depp has been physically abusive, so that Sun were right to use the claim that he's a wife beater. So it's not done well for him, is it?
The headline sticks, doesn't it? That's the problem. And once that character question comes into play, it's forever surrounding your head. He's not going to escape it. And what was it? I think there was 14 counts the judge went for, and he said there was sufficient evidence for 12.
Yeah.
That's not a minor number. That's a landslide in terms of the figures wise. You're looking at what's that? That's like 90, almost a 90%, and it's like right up there. So, I think you've got to say they're both really, really looking as if definitely both have been doing something to each other.
Loads of stuff has come out, hasn't it? I mean. In the last sort of, I'd say, couple of months, some really like messed up stuff between them both. Johnny Depp having his cheek burnt with a cigarette, having a bit of his finger chopped off by her. Him, like we said, throwing her for a ping pong table, dragging her across glass. I think she apparently defecated in a bed.
Yeah, which was one which is, that whole Amber Turd line stuck, didn't it? It stuck because even I think her personal assistant came out and said that the dog who she blamed it on had never done anything of that nature before because it was so well trained, and that it was human-sized feces.
And that's the thing as well, is that apparently, now this is just what I've been reading and what I've been researching on, is that for almost everything every bit of evidence that Amber Heard gave in court to show that he was physically abusive, they had some sufficient evidence to prove the opposite. Yet he still lost, which is interesting because I don't know, to someone who doesn't know a lot about law, doesn't know a lot about that sort of, industry and anything about that, surely, if he's got sufficient evidence, then doesn't it not counteract? I don't know. It's an odd one. I can't get my head around that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I think, and I heard they based a lot of the overall outcome on her confession and the witness statement she gave, which is kind of hard because I think I read that he spent almost 5 days in the witness box himself.
Yeah.
Describe his entire character, his background of his mother's death, and then how he supposedly became physical towards women after that, towards his first wife, etc., etc. But everything which he revealed seemed to point towards the way they were leaning it. You can't, you leaning it towards that outcome, really. The Sun is a massive global, Rupert Murdoch and all those. It's a massive impact, and if you're running the show, I think you got the money financially to back you in the courtroom. And I know Johnny has, but he ain't.
Yeah, but apparently he paid for the best person he could possibly get to defend him, and he still lost. And I actually I've got a quote here. So this is a quote from somebody who was at the hearing, and it says, "Most troubling is the judge's reliance on the testimony of Amber Heard and corresponding disregard of a mountain of counter evidence from police officers, medical practitioners, her former assistant, other unchallenged witnesses, and an array of documentary evidence which completely undermined the allegations point by point, and all of it was overlooked." There's something wrong with that.
There's a question mark there, isn't there? There's the whole rigged question mark there, isn't there? As if it was predetermined, almost predetermined.
It does almost seem like that, and it is important to note that Johnny Depp is appealing, and he's had a statement saying that he will appeal it. And I mean, like we said, we don't want to take sides, but I'm sort of with him because from what I'm reading, I think he should appeal, and I think
Well, I think even if you're looking at it from sort of a neutral standpoint, if you've got evidence to argue against, isn't the justice system there to be able to provide that? You should be able to then have that as a balanced playing field. There should be a level. There should be level. It shouldn't be, well, you've got evidence to argue that, but I'm just going to stick with what we've heard already. That's not how it works. You've got to have sufficient evidence, and counter evidence, I think, should. It sounds like the weird thing is we're both just film guys. We're not lawyers. We're not here looking at the court case from sort of that standpoint of how every single piece of documentation was right. We're sort of looking at it and thinking, and this was the first question I had for Elliot, is it a career ender? Is it the end of Johnny Depp? Is this what defines his entire history? And it's a great, you look at his, it's a great catalogue of films and wonderful people to film he's been involved in. And
I mean, let's face it, who doesn't know Johnny Depp or at least one of his films? He's an icon of Hollywood, and I would like to think it wouldn't be the end of his career. So the main thing, obviously, being it's like big news is he's had to step down as Grindelwald in the next Fantastic Beasts film.
Yeah, but they're still paying him.
They're still paying him. Yeah, but he was asked to step down, and he agreed to. So does that mean he won't do anything again? You have to look at it from a production company, their standpoint. Do they take the risk on? Because although I seem to see more support for him everywhere as opposed to Amber Heard, there will be people still that will believe that Johnny Depp is in the wrong. And does a company want to take that on board with hiring him? So whether he chooses to end it there and he goes, that's it, then I'll just retire and
he's not going to go broke. Let's face it. He's going to be fine.
It'll be, he's got an island, I think, somewhere in like the Caribbean or something. He's fine. Like,
he's not going to be looking out going, wish I'd taken on that last Fantastic Beast.
You might see him on I'm a Celebrity next year.
This year, mate. He's coming to Wales.
Just turn up. Everyone will go, oh, yeah, I remember him. Yeah. I did read, though, apparently he's going to reprise his role as Jack Sparrow. I mean, I don't know how credible that was.
That's Disney. And they're saying the whole thing was that J.K. Rowling was saying, well, not sure if he's going to fit into my franchise for children anymore if he's being labelled as a domestic abuser. But
yeah,
I thought Disney were going cold on him as well. I thought they were going to,
I mean, I don't know how credible it is what I just said. I'm pretty sure I read something real quickly that said he's still going to play Captain Jack Sparrow. But I mean, I think he needs to give that up anyway. Like, we're done with Pirates of the Caribbean now. Let's move on. But,
yeah, I think that's a fair statement in itself. That's one everyone could agree on.
I think my question to you then, Jack, is so was it right that Depp was asked to step down from Fantastic Beasts, but same company haven't asked her to step down as Hera in Aquaman?
I saw this, and I saw the petition signed by like 1 million people to have Amber Heard removed. And then she tweeted saying, my fans love me, I'm still doing it no matter what. They pretty much doesn't care if you guys sign an online piece of paper. I'm getting paid for what I'm not going to turn down however millions of dollars it is. But I think if we're playing the equal game, there should be equal shame, right? There should be both of them should resign. I think you've got to give it to Johnny in that regard. He's obviously taken on board that him being on screen, and maybe if for example, a child saw it and said, or saw a newspaper and said, I saw that he was involved. If the title was Wife Beater, and then it ends up being he's involved in a children's film, I think. The fact he's honoured his contract to resign, if anything like that happened, is admirable to a degree. But I think he had to do it anyway.
But they asked him to. Have they asked Amber Heard to?
No. It sounds like no, right?
No, it does sound like no. If it is they've asked her, she said no. But
I don't think she can afford to say no. That's the funny part. Because I think she hasn't got the acting credibility which Johnny has. She's not anywhere near as, let's face it, she's not as good an actress as Johnny Depp is an actor. As simple as that.
I was struggling to think earlier on what else she's been in.
Well, Rum Diaries was sort of the only other one you can sort of associate with it. And Never Back Down, I think I remember her in as a bit part. Yeah, but as a big front sort of female, she's a co-star, isn't she, to Aquaman.
I still feel, I personally feel that if you're, is it Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers, yeah.
If you're Warner Brothers, I think you can't ask Johnny Depp to step down, but not ask Amber Heard.
Agreed.
Because
I agree with that.
You, if you're setting a standard and saying there's controversy around this person, the controversy doesn't stop with Johnny Depp. He was labelled wife beater, but there is so much stuff against Amber Heard.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you need to, like you said, it needs to be fair. They should ask her to step down. And I saw, I've not actually seen Aquaman. I've been wanting to see it. And I saw a casting choice for her to replace her, and it was actually Emilia Clarke. And someone had obviously designed her to look like it. She looked really class. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Get rid of her. Get Emilia Clarke in. Why not?
Yeah, it's not like she's irreplaceable.
No,
she's not irreplaceable.
Is it a big role in Aquaman?
I haven't watched Aquaman.
Oh, we both haven't seen Aquaman.
Because
Amber Heard's in it.
And we're not watching the new one. No, I just haven't watched it because to me it looks a bit shit, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah, to be fair, mate, I actually think it looks all right, but I just haven't got around to watching it yet. There's a lot of other films on my list.
I think I watched the opening sequence, and he rips through a submarine, and I was like, no,
the downfall of DC. Should we do that as our next podcast?
Yeah, that's bigger than this whole trial. But it's a strange one because me and Elliot, obviously, we're the film. We love to talk about film, and this is a topic which relates to film, but it isn't actually to do with their abilities as actors or actresses. It's to do with their public figures and their public personas. And so the next question I was leaning on to for Eddie is that should there be that association between the public life and the private life? Should the way you act in your private life be put on show for everyone? or should it not be taken into account when you are going for a film? Because film, at the end of the day, is a fictional world for the most part. It is a construction
Job,
of,
isn't
yeah,
it?
it's a job, isn't it? It's ex-prisoners, they're allowed to get a job after they come out, and
My
okay,
my
yeah,
argument for you on this is, um, if you're choosing to be an actor and you so happen to be a good actor, a big actor like Johnny Depp, and arguably like Amber Heard, you're choosing to put your life in the public eye. That is what the job entails. I'm lucky that my job doesn't do that, but if I, it's a difficult one. So they've chose to do this, and they've chose to do this as their job, and unfortunately, that means that their public life is known to everybody. Normally, I would say that's fine, but these guys have had some problems, some issues, and they're not good, and it paints them in a bad light. And unfortunately, they represent the company that they work for whatever film it may be, whether it be Disney, Warner Bros, DC, whatever it is. They are a representation of that. And if you aren't, if you're breaking laws, being abusive or whatever, unfortunately, it's going to affect your job. And it would in the real world. If my work found out I was, domestically abusing someone, I imagine there'd be repercussions. There would be issue, and I think that's part of it. But it's a hard one, isn't it? Because I imagine some of this is blown up a little bit, to a point where it's almost a bit like, well, he did this and she did that, and she claims that she hit him, but she said she never punched him. She said she just hit him, and he was never ever hurt by that. And you can sort of go, well, arguably, my missus hits me a few times sometimes because I'm annoying as hell. So
this is
I would never claim, but I would never claim like domestic abuse. But I would say these two have got to a point where they're trying to, prove that the other person is in the wrong. So they're probably taking everything that ever happened and claiming it to be. But it's a difficult one. I do think it should affect your job, because at the end of the day, you're, like I said, you're representing a company and you're representing something, and you're so publicly visible that if you are, domestically abusing somebody, then I think they're more within their right to dismiss them and let them go.
Yeah. So you think that their private life is part of, you've got to display it no matter what the case is, no matter
it comes with their territory of what they do.
Yeah.
Hence why we know every detail about it. But how many domestic abuse cases go to court every day, but you don't know about.
And that was the other thing we were talking about before. Does this whole construct affect other domestic abuse cases where the evidence is so substantial, but you've got the whole, it's a hoax, it's a money grabbing ploy, it's a whole, that's where
I do fear that it's a bit like the whole boy who cried wolf situation, where I feel that I hope it's weird. I hope that Amber Heard isn't lying, but at the same time, I hope it isn't true. But I kind of hope that if she is on an elaborate hoax, as Johnny Depp called it, about her domestic abuse, that it would hurt women in the future when trying to make a case. I feel like it's one of those, you see it all the time with things like this, women that claim to have been mistreated and they haven't, but then that actually hurts cases. And there are cases, and obviously it's a very serious thing. There are cases where it does happen, but that hurts those people. And you'd hate to think that it would affect anyone that is going through domestic abuse. And look, if Amber Heard did go through it, then absolutely terrible. And, you can look at her accolades afterwards. She's done, according to a lot of sources, she's done a lot of work for domestic abuse cases and women that go through domestic abuse. So, this is why it's such a tricky situation. I feel like we're almost never going to know the truth.
No. Only the two people in that room know the actual truth. And that's what it always comes down to, doesn't it?
I hope this just gets settled with money, and they just go their own way, and it just sort of gets forgotten about. Unless there is substantial evidence that one of them is extremely abusive, then I hope that they get what they deserve, which is,
Harvey Weinstein. I hope if that is the case after all the years, it comes out and they go to jail, and that's where they sit and they rot. Because Johnny's
at the end of the day,
he deserves it. He deserves to be put in jail. He deserves to. He deserves.
At the end of the day, a lot of people are defending Depp, and I think a lot of people are potentially defending Depp because they either really like him. You know, a lot of women fancy Johnny Depp, and what fans are like. They can get a bit.
I think sometimes their talent smoke screens some of the story. Some people I love him. I love his acting ability. I love him as a person. But you don't know the person.
They think that he couldn't possibly do something like that. But at the end of the day, he's done something. There's something up there. There's something not right. And I think if Depp is in the wrong, he needs to get punished for it. And I think he needs to. And if that is never being in a film again, and let's look at Kevin Spacey. We will never see him in a film again.
No. Phenomenal actor. Don't get me wrong. Incredible talent.
But he's tarnished it. He's tarnished it. And if that's the case for Johnny Depp, then that's the case for Johnny Depp. And and at that point, I will commend that Amber Heard on her resilience to it and putting up with it. But at the moment, there's not enough. I wouldn't say there's not enough evidence to prove either one of them is guilty or either one of them's innocent. And I think that's the problem with this at the moment. There's not a solution yet.
No, I completely agree. I think we're both on the same page when it comes to, and I think the sort of overall tale for this is if there's a toxic relationship of any sort, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest public figure in the world or living the most private life, just try and get out of it. It's the only thing you can do, escape from that situation. I know it's hard and stuff like that, but
this is a product of toxic relationship. It's two people that weren't good for each other, thought they were, and sadly, this is obviously on a big scale because we know them. Sadly, this happens, I imagine, quite a lot.
And it sounds awful me saying this. Maybe it's a good thing that it's drawing more public light to it. Maybe those cases which were sort of getting shadowed over get a little bit more of a magnifying glass pointed over them now.
Yeah, and maybe people realise the relationship they're in is a bit toxic, and it might be enlighten them. So, but then you don't want to see this happen to anyone, do you? And you can only wish that it gets resolved.
No, and in terms of film, it affects film because it hurts cinema in another way. It removes talented people who have these backgrounds, and they're afflicted. They're both afflicted people, I think, as far as you can look at them. They've got a lot of mental issues there. Honestly, Johnny's started from he came out at a young age being addicted to drugs and all of those things, but managed to come back and be a fantastic actor. You just don't want to see film purposes. Yeah, you don't.
I think they're tarnished a bit now as well.
Yeah,
I think either way they're going to come out of this negatively, regardless of the outcome. I think either way, a lot of people have been saying, "Is this the end?" Like you said, is it the end of the? It really well could be. But it could be more. He can't find work, or it could literally be he just doesn't want to do it anymore. But
he might even, everyone sort of thought he was this reclusive guy before, and he was this shadow. You saw him on like Graham Norton, and every interview he would barely speak a word. I can imagine he never wants to do there and sit down on a couch and do another public conversation in front of a crowd ever again, because he'll have that shadow hanging over his head.
It's bad.
It's bad. Yeah, it's bad.
There's no winners. There's no winners, is there, for this situation?
No, and
apart from,
it doesn't matter if you are in the Depp camp or if you're in the Heard camp. At the end of the day, this is an awful situation.
Yeah,
which is being displayed to the world, and it's giving actors and actresses a bad name again. There's that moral compass with the art of acting seems to be so close to flirting the line between good and bad. They could be how often do you see that these wonderful performers have these massive demons in their closet, and which ends up ruining every bit of their career.
The thing is, though, I think people need to remember that actors are human. They go through some crap and some rubbish parts in their life. I think a lot of people think celebrities live these glamorous lies that there's nothing any wrong with them. And clearly you can see here that two humans going through something very real and very, traumatic. So I think we've made our case for that. I did want to have just a little quick discussion about
this wasn't a big one. This was just sort of us talking about something which we saw everyone was talking about at the moment. I'd be interested to see what people say if you're in the Johnny Depp corner or if you're in the Amber Heard corner. I think you see me and Elliot, we're sitting right there on the fence, seeing both sides, because at the end of the day, there is two sides to every tale. And until I think the US case is going to bring a whole new wave of information for us all to sort of digest and look at. But for now, you've got to say Johnny is losing. He's losing because he's lost this civil case, and he's had 12 of 14 allegations be proven to have enough evidence to lose that. So, I mean, Johnny is losing at the moment. But there's always, another side to that coin. We could go all night.
What I did want to discuss is just quickly is who should replace Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. Nice. I know who's in contention. Would you like me to say?
Go for it. I don't know.
So the person I think that's been pegged to take over the role is Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, yeah, from
the bad guy from Casino Royale.
Yeah, Bond. Yeah.
And I two big thumbs up for that.
Rogue One, is he the father in Rogue One?
That's right. Yeah. Denos Urso or Jerdano. He's pegged to take over, and I just want to say, the thing with the Harry Potter universe is that they cast so well.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a phenomenal choice if they go with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I've seen I like his work. He's a Scandinavian guy. I'm not sure where he's from, but
I think it's Norway. I think he's from Norway.
Yeah, I think I remember him on the Volvo adverts maybe for a while. I might be wrong there, but everyone have a little look.
He's fantastic, and I think I could see him playing that role. I think he'd nail that.
Yeah, but there's a kind of because I think Johnny was doing a great job of Grindelwald.
We didn't get him to see him play the character enough, did we? That's a shame.
The second one, we was sort of a little bit more involved, wasn't he? He was a little bit more of the.
Shame that film was pants.
I'm not, it's a shame, Harry Potter, as you said, but the Harry Potter franchise is.
Yeah, they cast well. Whoever's casting it will nail it.
Yeah.
So I think we come to the end of today's podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a deep one, isn't it?
Intense one for everyone today. Not quite the light-hearted humour you've been used to.
Enough laugh during that one, was there? We'll just put some funny moments.
No, there wasn't, which is kind of hard for me and Elliot because we want to crack a joke, we want to have a laugh, but there's serious topics out there which we need to look at as well. And from the film world, there's a lot of serious topics out there, guys.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And girls.
Yeah.
That off today.
You're such a wife beater. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night. Take care.
Let us know what you're thinking, okay? We really want to hear about this one. Really interested, man.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.